Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the 13th Dimension. My name is Nick Mulae. Tonight is going to be a relatively interesting episode, as we're going to be doing more of a Q&A for the most part. Of course, my first time trying this out, for the 13th Dimension. So it'll be a very interesting one because it's going to be more of the audience asking questions. So with that, we're going to have Jeremy, and along with Scott, Tim, and Crystal to come on. How you doing, Jeremy?
Doing pretty good. How you doing?
Doing good. Tim, Crystal, hello.
Hi, guys. Hi. And of course,
finally, Scott.
The man, the myth, the legend himself, Scotty Wilson.
I don't know about that, but
how you guys doing tonight?
Good. How are you, Nick?
Doing pretty good. Been all over the place. What's that?
You've had a busy day.
Busy 2 days, let's put it. It's like the show I've been on in the last 24 hours.
Holy cow, you're just a popular guy.
Yeah, everyone just loves me.
I guess that would make Nick the man, the myth, and the legend, dude, because I couldn't do that. That'd be like, my bedtime is 9 o'clock. Sorry, man, I'm out.
Well, I just woke up actually right before I got on here, so my bedtime.
Really?
Yeah, because I knew I had to before I was going to come on here. I needed to get some rest before I did anything else because I worked earlier, so I needed a break.
There you go.
Get you a little downtime.
Oh yeah. We all need it every once in a while.
Definitely.
Right now, I'm sharing this out.
That's what I'm doing too, Jeremy.
Share away, fellas. Share away.
Yeah.
Okay.
And hopefully, we get some people in the chat to ask us some questions.
Yeah. I'm looking right now. I haven't seen anything yet, so.
They'll flock. They'll come in.
Oh yeah. Did you guys watch the show that I was on earlier today, Paranormal Mysteries?
No, I was actually on somebody else's show at that time.
Oh, right. I remember. Yeah. Well, they were obviously very excited that they were able to, that this was their first time having their show for Pond, because we got we had a lot more viewers. We had, a few people who managed to even ask a few questions for us. I mean, before this, we just never got that many viewers. So it really was, it was a real benefit for us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to see a whole lot of it. I was busy pampering myself today.
Well, even if you tune in for just a few minutes, it's still nice. So thank you.
You're welcome. I try to watch all of my new shows.
What's going on, Ryan? How you doing?
Hi, Ryan.
Good night.
Those of you who just popped in, tonight's show is a Q&A for us. John, what's up, man? So if you guys have any questions for us out there, you can ask and we'll answer you. Nick will be our moderator. He's going to read the questions.
We're going to answer.
We're going to answer them.
All right. Good to see you, John. Okay. Let's see.
Do I look taller?
A little bit.
Nice.
Scott, I have a question for you. You have your chicken nuggets ready.
Oh, Scott does not have chicken nuggets, but look.
As depressing it is, I don't. I came home and I made what we call Cheesy Joe's for dinner. So, yeah, we had that. And so no chicken nuggets again tonight. I know it's so depressing, dude. I ain't had none in like a month.
God, I'm shocked.
Scott's
Well, you're
putting
going to
us
be
down.
careful, Scott. You're going to disappoint the audience.
I know, man. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm going to be somewhere and people are just going to start chucking nuggets at me like, I did this for you.
Watch them. Keep that in mind. Whenever
As I like to say, Nick,
make sure you have a bucket of nuggets with them.
Right.
Can you
I'm
imagine?
about to say, we bow to no corporate sponsor.
Can you imagine if all of us, in each of our videos had chicken nuggets and Scott was the only one who did it? By mere coincidence.
Dude, that would be horrible. Then I'd be like, what? You guys ain't sharing, man. You can ship that.
Looks
So I
like
think-
looks like Ryan's got some question. What's the next move? Not sure what.
What do you mean by the next
Can
move?
you elaborate on that, Ryan?
Well, I mean, we can't say too much, but we can say that we're going to be part of a documentary next weekend,
Weather permitting,
weather permitting.
the 13th Dimension is road tripping
No, don't say where. We're not allowed to say where or
Out.
nothing like that.
west,
There you go.
but it'll be me stuck in the car for 12 hours with these three guys. Sorry, Nick, you're not going, but I don't think you're going to miss out on a whole lot.
It's no big deal. I'm still working on a few other projects myself, so I'm not going to feel bad. I'm still working on the. I actually just recorded some new audiobook stories, so you can clearly tell I'm somewhat trying to keep myself busy. Hey,
Hello,
Margaret.
Margaret Marshall from Adelaide, Australia. Thanks for
First
tuning
time
in.
tuning in. All right. Welcome to the 13th Dimension.
We're
Welcome.
not getting those right. That's going to be our next tagline, guys.
Yeah, looks like Ryan was saying, like paranormal wise investigations.
Well,
So
we got
we're-
that one next weekend.
Yep. We have Waverly booked for April. We have Crown Point Jail in Indiana booked in March,
Right.
Jeremy?
Yep. In March.
we-
and also got a couple of residentials coming up
Yep.
in February as well.
Hey, Alberta, how you doing?
And Paranormal Wise, Tim and I are going to be starting our own show too on Tuesday nights.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm
I'm
excited. about
looking
that
forward
one.
to seeing this go on live because again, as much as you guys are into history, I'm obviously into it a lot myself. So looking forward to when you guys go on.
Yeah, it's going to be something a little different. So,
Yep.
I do too. I hope she smacks the crap out of you.
she'll
I don't
do
need
that
it. I don't need a
anytime.
different live. To do that. I can do that right here.
Well, she's got to be real careful not to re-injure Tim's shoulder. Otherwise, she's going to be stuck with him in the house for another 4 months.
It's the other shoulder, so he's good. That's why he's sitting where he is.
Her arms can't reach that far.
Smart move.
Yeah, we are really getting quite a good view of different international. We got Australia, we got Ireland. It's just wow.
We have Japan. Irene.
Japan. Oh, Irene's watching. I can't see
I don't know if
exactly.
she's watching right now, but normally she watches our shows.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yes.
I was going to say, I'm
Where's
sure she'll put it up at some point.
Jenny will be on here at some point in time, I'm sure,
Where's Jenny?
unless she fell asleep. Gary said he was going to try to tune in and watch tonight too.
Gary was?
Yeah,
They're
they
my,
all want to ask us questions.
they're my Irish counterparts.
Here we go. Here's something from Ryan again. Okay, what's your routine when debunking evidence or things you hear or view as paranormal?
For me personally, my routine is to cover every single base. At the end of the day, I like to say I'm a realist. So I don't see that glass half full or half empty. I see it at 50% of volume. So I kind of take a fairly scientific approach to this and really, really try my best to try everything to debunk evidence if I can. Was there a car driving by? Was there that could have cast a shadow? Was there a something that could have made that noise? Is it something paranormal? Is it something not paranormal? It comes down to like for me myself, I'm a very rock solid type person. I like to see something that has rock solid evidence. So I mean, for me, debunking, I will go through everything. I like to go through during daytime and take some pictures of the places we're going to investigate. That way we can compare our nighttime photos with daytime photos to see if there's something there that could explain what we caught, you know, things like that. So that way we kind of have a baseline prior to the investigation to go back and double check from, just little things like that.
I try to recreate it. This is where our junior investigators and Scott's son comes in. We were at a location and we kept hearing a noise, and it was audible, but we kept hearing it also through the EVP recorders, and we couldn't figure out what it was. So we tried our best to recreate it, and Scott's son jumped right in, wasn't even asked, and he was stepping on the floorboards with us, hitting the walls, doing everything to help us try to figure out what it was. So I try to recreate it. That's where I go.
And to go along with covering all your bases, we also use other kinds of equipment that's not tailored to the field. Like, for example, I have a carbon monoxide detector. I've also got a gas detection meter, things like that, to try and see if there's anything within a house or a location, if there are things that can affect people in such a way where they can start hallucinating visually or audibly.
And I told Jeremy earlier, if I eat this many chicken nuggets, that gas detection meter will be useless.
Yeah.
Scott, what about you, bud?
And I agree with Crystal. I mean, it's about trying to recreate that sound or that noise, or like Tim said, that shadow, to see if you can actually, in fact, debunk it. You know, checking your floorboards and checking pipes. You know, I mean, not all like pipes and stuff in the walls you're going to be able to get to, but anything overhead that you may, if you're in a basement and there's water lines and stuff like that, if you can recreate just a little bit of vibration to cause any kind of noise, then you're on the right track. You know, when I investigate, I love, like these big places we go to, I love to try to get a personal experience. But for me, when it comes to residential, for me, it is about debunking, because not every family wants that place to be extremely haunted. You know, they just need a little, sometimes some comfort, and, you know, hey, you know, is this doing that? Is that doing that? So if I can give them a little bit of peace by trying to debunk stuff, then I'm good, and that's what I want to do. I want to give them that little bit of peace of mind.
Absolutely.
Well, I think for me, like how I try to debunk the evidence is I again, I know it's obviously been a while, but I usually, especially when it comes to like video or audio footage, you know, I always try to kind of review it very carefully to make sure, like, try to, I guess in some way, try to recall, like, was there a particular sound I remembered hearing that I could try to debunk? I mean, it really depends on the particular evidence. I mean, in fact, there's actually one piece of evidence that I was able to debunk very easily a number of years ago, that, like, we were checking out this place called the Rossville Opera House, and one of the guys that that was investigating, he took a photograph, and literally he's like saying, "Yeah, you guys got to check this out. I got this awesome figure of a shadow figure right there." And he shows me a picture saying the guy's like wearing a hat. He's even holding a gun practically. And I look at the photograph. I'm like, I hate to break this to you, but that's me. You can't possibly expect me to believe that. That's clearly me standing there. And they're like, no way, that can't be. I was like, oh yeah, it's supposedly holds a gun in the shadow figure's hand. That was me checking my phone. So I was able to debunk that very quickly.
Another thing, when I'm running audio, when I'm doing EVP work, I normally try to make sure that Tim is around, and what I hear, I play back for him.
But she doesn't tell me what she hears.
I don't tell him what I hear. I just say, listen for what I'm going to play you, and then I let him listen to it. And then a lot of times I can send it to Jeremy, I can send it to Scott, just to get different people's input.
You know, it's actually interesting you mentioned that because my crew of IPF, we actually did something like that 2 years ago. I mean, we're still trying on doing this, which is we're 2 years ago we tried putting together our own series, which was going to be called Paranormal Travels, and honestly, it was going to be a lot like the show Paranormal Witness, because except the difference would be, unlike Paranormal Witness, where you had interviews, those who lived at the location and investigators who experienced it, and there's all this dramatization footage in between. It would be the real footage instead. So, first our first episode, we all worked on it together. So, just like you, Chris, I played it for everyone to get their reviews, so I didn't have to make that decision on my own.
Right.
And if anyone out there has a piece of evidence that they want to share and get some fresh ears and eyes on, that's what our show's going to be all about, the K-Files. So anybody out there that wants to, our email address is
kfilesparanormal@gmail.com. It's over there. I didn't bring it over today.
Good evening,
Hi, Bart. Hi, Natasha.
Hello, Bart.
Tasha, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in.
Hi guys. There we go. I can.
Actually, let's.
Are you still staring?
No, I was going to put the email on the show here.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Well, thank you.
Paranormal. Okay.
Yeah, the K-Files is going to be a show about paranormal evidence review.
Yep.
So if you send us a piece of evidence, we will absolutely give you credit for your evidence. We're not here to take that away from anybody, but everybody talks about Paraunity. We want to display it so everybody can come in, be nice, and talk about what they see, what they hear, and we can all have that sense of, what we want to do with it. So, right, and we'll be able to talk in depth about it.
Hi, Nita.
Hi, Nita. Hi, Natasha. Hi, Bart. Sorry, I didn't get a chance. I wanted everybody to talk about it. I didn't mean to interrupt you guys, but what up?
You're fine.
Hello, everybody.
For those who just tuned in, this is going to be a Q&A tonight. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments.
Absolutely.
Please do.
Yep. We are here for you guys tonight.
I feel short.
How can you feel short?
What? I feel short every day of my life.
You're sitting in a room by yourself.
Let's just be honest. He just misses his chicken nuggets.
I do, man. I do.
And there's Jeremy with the Slim Jim.
Yep. Jeremy on the Slim Jim assist. Have you guys ever seen a chicken nugget turn into a Slim Jim? Ready?
I don't think so.
Take it, Jeremy. There it is. Hey.
I'm going to need to have something with me. I need to have something for myself as well next time I'm involved in something like this, some trademark.
Right.
Yeah, we sent a chicken nugget all the way to Jenny in Ireland.
So, Nita, to answer your question tonight, this is basically a Q&A, just something rather simple, just answering, any questions, anybody has in mind. So, if you have questions, regarding paranormal, feel free to ask.
Paranormal, cryptozoology, historical figures, conspiracy theories, anything that our show covers, you can. Serial killers. We'll do our best to answer.
All right, actually, looks like we got another one from Ryan. What's been What's been your favorite experiment you've conducted, and what were the results?
Ooh.
That's a
I'm
good
going to start off on this one. Okay, so Ryan, my favorite experiment is the dog whistle experiment. Been using that for quite a while. Gotten several different results from it each time we've used it. The very first time that I used it, I actually got poked in the back, and that was at the jail in Crown Point. The second time that I used it, it was at Waverly Hills, and something appeared to try to manifest itself in front of me, but only for a split second. Then most recently, it was at the Davies house. I used it, and something almost threw Crystal down the stairs.
Into the wall. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, the dog whistle appears to have like a negative effect on the paranormal. So it's like they're trying to get away from it. So based off of these initial results, I've got theories as to what we could do next, and I'm actually working with somebody, but waiting on the right situation to take the experiment to the next level.
Yeah, man, I love that part about them poking you in the back. They're like, "Hey, cut that out."
Gary had a ball with that comment.
Scott, you got anything?
With the first team that I was with when I first came in a paranormal field, I believe we tried the, and I'm going to chop this up, Gansfield experiment. So you take ping pong balls, you cut them in half and you place them over your eyes, and then you're blindfolded with earmuffs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're supposed to use a strobe light, but I believe we used like a red light. And what it does is it's supposed to enhance your senses, but it also kind of messes with you, I'm going to say psychologically, because when you're doing it and it's kind of black, but you're seeing stuff move all the time. And if you're in the room by yourself, you're really not understanding if it's a shadow person or if it's a spirit or if it's just somebody walking around. But it's probably one of by far the strangest experiments I've ever done to deal with just how to deal with your senses. So it was really interesting.
I know what Crystal's going to say.
My next experiment, I went and got, don't laugh, Scott. I went and got cat balls.
Oh, the cat balls. Yeah. I've been hearing
They light up?
about them lately.
And they're motion detected.
Don't shake it or move it, and wait for the light to go out. Now bump it.
Hold on, I turned it off.
Oh,
So they light up. I don't know when it stops. And then you can move it.
and
So if something touches it, it'll go off.
the slightest little movement will make those lights light up.
We got a couple of those to try on our next investigation.
I thought you were going to say the camera and
The open shutter,
yes.
that one's a cool one too, but I still want to play with it. We haven't had a whole lot of results yet from that one.
For me, I think it's an experiment that I want to try more than I have tried yet. I have a theory. They use this new stuff called LiDAR, and there's a couple different ways they use it. They fly over an area with a plane, and it'll strip off all the vegetation and be able to give you, it's a laser pointed system, but they also use it to map caves. So my thinking was if we could map a room inside of a building with the LiDAR, and if we left that running and nobody walked in that room for a few minutes, if anything moved in front of those laser beams, it would show up as an anomaly on the LiDAR. So that's kind of an experiment that I kind of have in my head that I really want to try and see if we can get results on it. A place like Waverly would be really cool to try that out at.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was going to say
it
it would be a definitely like a good candidate for something like that. But to answer question now. See, again, it's been such a while. I can't really think of, exactly what my favorite experiment is. I think pretty much, really whatever I've been able to, I guess, accomplish, in past investigations. I mean, I just can't think of any particular experiment that I could really think of, to be honest.
Yeah, Jeremy and I are doing, you use the pen, the grid pens, and we leave my shutter open on my camera, and then Jeremy uses the pen to kind of fill in the negative space and see if we can catch an apparition in it. So far, we haven't caught anything, but we're going to keep playing with it.
Yeah, we've only done that, 3 times? 3 locations?
2, I think.
2?
Did we just do it? We didn't do it at Randolph. We just did it Crown Point and Davy's house.
Okay.
Margaret Marshall here says they use the cat balls a lot here in Australia. Didn't know that.
We had one when we went to Randolph. It wasn't ours. It was another teammate's. And there was a doll that was sitting in a swing, and it kept swinging. So we put the cat ball up there to catch it, to see if we could catch it light up. And that kind of gave me the idea. So I went out and got a couple of them.
I haven't gotten it yet, but I, been hearing because I've been hearing so much, but I might eventually get a few myself.
Yeah, they're not real expensive.
No, they don't look well. Yeah. Okay, I'm just scrolling back because I know it looks like we got a few questions here now. Okay, let's see. Bart asked a question. I got a piece of equipment, but it came from England. Is there an adapter I can get?
Yeah, Bart, there is. If you look it up, I'm assuming you're talking about different power sources. And there is adapters for European power sources to American power sources. So if you look on Amazon or eBay or anything like that, you'll be able to find them fairly inexpensively.
Okay.
You may even be able to find them on like a Walmart.com or Lowe's or Menards.
Okay, let's see what else we got. Okay, Margaret Marshall asked a question. Okay. Ooh, what's your favorite piece of equipment and why? That's a good one.
Scott?
Yeah, Scott, you want to start off?
Why does it gotta be me? You guys know what I'm gonna say. My digital voice recorder. Oh, okay, I'm just kidding. Spirit box. I love the Spirit box. It's the one piece of equipment that interacts with me better than anything else. So I got it.
Spirit box is a little too much.
It's not even my piece of equipment, but I get all the action. I'm just saying.
For those who don't know,
you can have that kind of action.
Yeah, we've had two different people, 2 different teams, spirit boxes, same location, and every time they love to call Scotty into the jail cells privately with them.
They love Scotty's little butt.
Yeah, we'll keep it PG, but yeah.
So yeah, I would have to say I'm keen to spirit box, even though I don't have one. But
that's something I'm working on.
I know, brother. So
they're not that expensive. I mean, I got like 2 of them, the SB7 and even the SB11.
Nice. It's on our list, along with everything else.
Just a word of advice. I'm surprised you guys didn't wait till like Black Friday after Thanksgiving, because I was able to get the SB11 for like a really good price. Like I think it was obviously like over $100 something. I was only able to get it for like 80 that day. So
I didn't even think Black
at least
Friday.
I remember now.
I really want an SB7.
Yeah, the SB7's great too. I mean, I pretty much would prefer both. I mean, although I haven't used the SB11 very much because, again, I haven't been on a lot of investigations. So, but I would like to use it more often.
Jeremy, what's your favorite piece of equipment?
The dog whistle.
Ugh.
I'm gonna say I figure it would be the dog whistle.
Yeah,
I have a love-hate with that dog whistle.
but
I really do.
Before the dog whistle, it was actually the thermal imaging camera.
Yes.
But you know, with the dog whistle and the results that we've been getting from that, and plus other people have been getting from that. John Doherty's tried it out; he's gotten results. John Griffin and well, pretty much all of the UNI research team, they've used it. They've gotten some really good results from that. So I'm going to say it's the dog whistle.
Question, Jeremy.
Yes.
Have you gotten your hands on a harmonica yet?
A what?
Harmonica.
I used to have one. I don't know where it's at, but I do want to try it.
That would be interesting to try too.
Yeah.
I do believe Aiden might have a harmonica, or at least Devin might. I might be able to hook you up with that.
We should take that with us next weekend to see
Yeah.
what we get.
Well, I
It's your
guess.
piece.
Oh yeah, you go ahead, Tim.
My favorite piece of equipment is my digital voice recorder. I'm a camera in one hand, recorder in the other hand kind of guy. I mean, are there other things that I would love to use? Yeah. I've played around with the FLIR some and all that, but when I use raw data and you know that raw EVP capture, that just gets me through the roof. And when you get those intelligent responses on an EVP recorder, to me, there's nothing better. To me, there's validation in getting an intelligent response to the question you're asking using something as simple as a voice recorder. I'm kind of old school that way.
That's how I
Stop taking my
usually.
line.
I'm sorry. Sorry. Go ahead, Scott. What were you saying?
I was giving Tim a hard time. I told him to stop taking my line.
You can't say that. Scott already said it.
It is true. I am. It is true. Well, your camera?
Probably my camera, but I like just old school. Seriously, give me an EVP recorder, a flashlight, and a camera, and that's all. In myself, I like to use like my body, my mind, kind of thing.
Your senses.
Yes, my senses. Thank you, Jeremy. It's been a long day.
Believe I know.
What about you, Nick?
See, for me, I'm actually again in the same group. I would say. I mean, usually I prefer. I mean, as much as I like a lot of the modern, tools, which depending on exactly what it is, I prefer using a lot of the older fashioned tools. I mean, yes, also the digital recorder, but also like dowsing rods, crystals, pendulums. I mean, you have to remember when you look at those kind of tools, those have been used for centuries. So they're probably the oldest type of tools that anyone could have ever used, prior to what we have now. And and those tools, in fact, were actually among some of the very first tools I ever got, which was actually back when I was in high school. Because especially if you look back like 10, 15, now almost 15 years ago for me, yes, I know, I'm getting older already.
No, you're still a young pup.
Yes, I am.
That's the thing.
Yeah, you're still the youngest out of this bunch.
So, but the point I'm getting is that a lot of these tools that we've been talking about, like a lot of the newer stuff, back then it was very difficult to get a hold of a lot of that stuff, like the thermal cameras and they were still thousands of dollars. Like if I knew you guys back then, along with many other groups, I would probably only bet that maybe only one group out of maybe, let's say, like 50 would have had a lot of those type of expensive tools back then. So it wasn't really because I was too young to get them. It was just more or less that they were just really unavailable at the time.
Very true.
Yeah.
I want to add one more thing to that too. This will make Ryan Seymour happy. Music. I love using music on investigations.
Yeah, that's good too.
Jeremy knows we were in a little in the room where a supposed little boy spirit was, and I had my AVP recorder going, and I decided to play. Somebody had left a little child xylophone in there, and I'm sitting there playing "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star" and "London Bridge," falling down on the xylophone to try to get it to interact with us. So, music is another thing I love to use on investigation.
We actually did that a couple of years ago at a particular grave on the outskirts of Chicago, and it was perfect because the person who was buried in this area was it even has it on his grave. He was a ZZ Top fan, so we played like a song from ZZ Top, and I think that got a few responses, from what we were playing. So music's another great tool to use.
A couple of years ago, when the team went to Waverly Hills, I think it was the first night, we started playing period music down the second floor hallway. First, we started playing music from the late 1920s. Then about 10 minutes later, we started playing music in the 30s. And two of our members actually started doing dancing, like ballroom dancing out there.
Wow.
Yeah. We didn't really get any results from it, but it was still pretty cool to see.
See now, Jeremy, if I'd have been there and if I still had my saxophone, I could have really played some 30s and 40s and 20s.
We did that though too at Crown Point when we had the kids upstairs in the juvenile area. We played period music, and we all danced.
We were doing the piano experiment. That's right.
Yeah.
I could actually
with those EVPs.
I could think of another location that music would probably be great to use. I don't know if you guys heard of it's actually located in the state of Virginia. It's called Rye Cove. You guys familiar with that area? Or, well, to make a long story short, over 90 years ago now, back in 1929, there was actually a deadly tornado that struck through that area. It actually went through Rye Cove High School, and unfortunately, I think it was like about 12 students and one teacher died. These were like kids between the ages of 6 to 18. So wow. and the teacher was not even that much older. She was only like 24. So it was obviously devastating. But one of the first rescuers that happened to come across the disaster site was A.P. Carter of the Carter family, because he lived not too far from that area, and I think he was so haunted by what he experienced, because he found kids that were either dead or dying, that later that year, he and the rest of the Carter family recorded a song called "The Cyclone of Rye Cove." It's still actually a popular song in country culture, but they usually play it a lot. Anytime you hear it, they'll usually say something beforehand about where the song originated, what happened. So the school was rebuilt. It's still actually a high school to this day. Kids still go there. But on the outskirts, there's a log cabin, which was one of the areas where they treated some of the injured. It's like a museum now, and it's not too far from the cemetery. So I would say, if you guys ever happen to be at Rye Cove in Virginia, definitely have that song with you, because that will probably really stir things up.
What's the name of that song? I'm going to look it up right now.
Oh, The Cyclone of Rye Cove. Make sure to type in the Carter family, because that was their original recording. It's an amazing, but at the same time, obviously, it's a pretty sad song though, because again, it was based off of something that actually happened. It's not like the teenage tragedy songs.
Right.
Well, the Carter family.
The best music is always based off something that actually happened.
Right. Yeah, that's one that not too many people really know about unless you live in that area. So that's why not too many. I mean, unless you heard, some people may have heard about the song, but other than that, unless you live in that area, that's why not too many people know about this particular event. It was definitely one of the deadliest tornadoes to strike the state of Virginia.
Who all was that? Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper,
And Richie Valens.
and Richie Valens. My sister lives just outside of the town where their plane crashed.
Oh wow.
She lives just outside of the town where the plane took off.
Or took off, yeah. The last
It
place they
crashed
ever
right
played.
near there too. It was the last place they ever played. Was in Clear Lake, Iowa.
Wow. Jeez.
Yeah. If I would have thought of that when we were out there last year, I'd have done some ghost work, but I didn't think of it.
scrolling back up, I know the questions are starting to come in. Let's see here. Okay, Bart asked, how did it work at Waverly? I never got to ask you. What exactly do you mean by that, Bart?
The
So he
whistle.
must be talking about the dog whistle.
Dog whistle, yeah.
So that's what I was talking about earlier. That was when it looked like something was trying to manifest itself right in front of me. I was on the third floor at the far end of the hall, and I blew the whistle, stopped, and probably not 10 seconds later, I could actually see what looked like a figure, maybe 15 feet in front of me, trying to appear in front of me, and just for a split second, then it went away.
That's awesome, man.
Wow.
It's incredible. Well, knowing that, you know, the dog whistle really helps out. I mean, like I said, when I was there over 10 years ago, I mean, a dog whistle is a relatively cheap piece of equipment. So I wish I could have known about it then, so that way I could have brought it with me back then.
Well, we'll see what happens this year.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, looks like I might have a type of transportation to get down to Waverly for April, if I'm correct. That's
Yeah.
in April.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I might have a way of transportation of getting down there.
That's good to hear.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
They're not gonna know what to do when Pun TV and things arrive on the scene. I feel sorry for them.
let's see who else we got here. Hang on a second, everyone.
Tasha's the next one.
Okay, Ryan asked maybe the frequency.
Again, that's
Oh, who is Ryan?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Tasha's. There is, if you look on eBay and some sites or someone selling that same equipment might have adapters. Okay, I think that was from what they were asked.
Bart was asking.
Okay, here's something we got. This is also from Natasha. Do you rely more on your team members or your own senses, or do you use more equipment? And what's your worst investigation so far?
The worst investigation?
Wow.
Hey, I'm going to start off on that one. So the worst investigation, it was myself and a former team member from years ago. She and I went to a residence's house for claims of demonic activity. We oh boy. So yeah.
Jeremy's a boy and this is bad.
Well, it's one of those things, you know. So it was in a mobile home park, a very small town, and we were having some problems locating the particular lot number that we were supposed to go to. So we went to the park office, and she actually went inside to inquire about where it was at. They told her, and right before she walked out the door, they gave her a little warning. Please take a deep breath and hold your breath as you're walking in the door of this house.
Oh, dear Jesus.
Yeah, so she came back. She came back into the car and told me that. I was like, what? So we get there, and it turned out that warning was very warranted. Try to imagine, this is a single wide trailer. Number one, is not there. The family doesn't live there anymore. They actually broke up. So try to imagine a single wide mobile home that is a home to 10 dogs, 10 cats.
Oh my God.
We counted. A good number of rabbits and all inside of a single wide trailer.
I was gonna say, you sure this was a trailer? It sounds like you were at a zoo or some type of animal shelter.
Well, not as well. So the living room was not the typical couch and chairs and TV that you would see. You walk in the front door, the living room was literally cages on top of cages on top of cages throughout the whole room.
Wow.
God.
Okay, so we try to put that to the side. Let's find out why we're here. We sit down at the kitchen table, and my other investigator told me later on that when she sat down on her chair, she felt like she sat down in a puddle on the chair. Yeah. And yeah, so we're there for 2 hours. We're doing the interview and everything. They tell us all these things, and it turns out that one of the clients was on 20 different medications. And they actually gave me the whole list of the medications. And I've got a friend here in Fort Wayne who is a pharmacist. And I took this to her. And she's like, oh, yeah. She started pointing out specific medicines that if you get a combination of these, you are going to see things. There's no question about it. And then she started pointing out these other ones and said, with these, you are going to hear stuff. And okay. And plus, with all of the smells of the animals, it gets to you. So with the combination of all of that, that was what was causing this lady to feel like she was having all kinds of crap happening in this house. Can't really say anything about the animals, but with all the medications, I took it back to her. Okay, told her that I took her to a pharmacist and all of this. You may want to go to your doctor and have him go through each one of the medicines that he's got you on and try to figure out if there's something that he can do that would cause you to not have all these hallucinations. And I stayed in touch. I stayed in touch with them over the next couple of months. They ended up splitting up, moved out of the house, got rid of all of the animals, and I never heard back from them since.
Scott, what's your worst? What do you think about the question in whole?
Worst investigation. It would have to be with my old team. I used to have my own team called Flatline Paranormal, and we were invited to go to a local haunted house to go in and investigate. And because they always heard that there was something wrong with the building because it was sold and this and that, and people were seeing things and whatnot. So me and my team went in, and it was awesome because this was close to Halloween, so everything was decorated already. We're walking around, and you got these fake spiders everywhere, which I absolutely hate. So but as we're walking through, there's just high EMFs everywhere, old wiring. There is no reason why people were being, so paranoid and thinking they're seeing things, because, it was really off the chart. And I'm trying to keep this one short. So, but, we get done with all this, and I go back and I'm listening to all my evidence, and I'm clearly just not getting nothing on any of this. And my case manager calls me and says, hey, what are you doing? I think she called me on a Monday. She's like, what are you doing this Thursday? And I'm like, nothing. She's like, well, I have an interview for us with Doc West on 96.3. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah. So we go to do this interview, and we were just talking about the whole place and whatnot. It was a really cool interview, to be on the radio and talk about your experience. And when we got done, I'm like, I didn't get anything. I don't know what we're going to present to this guy. And she's like, oh, it's no big deal. I know the guy. I'll just talk to him. And we ate. My kids wanted to go through it. And, like, I can't speculate anything, but this gentleman out of nowhere ended up getting an EVP to use from my team for his haunted house, even though we didn't catch any evidence. So that was probably the worst one because, in my opinion, one of my team members faked evidence for this guy to put in his haunted house.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you, Margaret, for joining us.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
Pleasure having you.
Have a good night, Margaret.
Yeah.
I,
Good night,
I like
Margaret.
to rely
Thanks for being
more
with us.
on I like to rely more on equipment than I do other people, but I'm open to what our team members have to say that are sensitive. My wife here is slightly sensitive. My daughter's slightly sensitive. We have another team member who has abilities. So I'm always open to hear what they have to say, for sure. I never sell them short. But I love catching the stuff on equipment that I can quantify, kind of say, for me personally. But on top of that, my worst.
Oh no! All I can concentrate on right now is Mason being Jenny's dog and snoring away.
Yeah,
over
my
there.
son's laying in the living room just snoring his butt off. My worst I won't say my worst investigation. My worst experience with the paranormal was actually physically seeing somebody who was possessed and assisting them with the I don't want to say exorcism, but assisting them with getting the demon out. I mean, I saw this girl back then. She might have weighed 90 pounds, and she threw a 350-pound biker with one arm, just threw him 5 feet across the campground yard.
Wow.
So, seeing that and experiencing that, it was rough. But knowing how to combat it and knowing what to do has always helped me in life. So I guess it was like a worst case, best case scenario, or worst case, best learning experience scenario. But my worst investigations are ones where I don't have anything to debunk and I don't have anything to catch. When somebody calls you to their house or something and there's nothing there and they just called you there to get some attention or something like that, that kind of bums me out. And people not taking the field seriously.
Yeah.
And with the relying on your teammates or your equipment, I'm half and half on that.
Yep, me too.
I like to try to be as even as possible.
Honestly, to answer the question myself, I mean, there's only really there's actually kind of two instances that I would probably call my worst. I mean, the first one wasn't really an investigation, but it actually kind of was in that same issue, like you said, Tim, where you had, people just calling just to get some attention. Well, there was someone who was an associate of the other group that I was a part of. And she knew, for example, I did a lot of research on the Mothman, of course, especially the sightings here in Chicago. So she came up to me one day, on Facebook, and claimed that she had seen it. She gave the descriptions, and I started asking all these questions, to make sure that this was not just, something, simple that she might have seen. But honestly, even when she was describing it, the way that she was putting it, it was just, her story really just didn't add up too well. I mean, her story sounded rather vague. I honestly thought she was kind of more surprised. What she had seen, it was dark, it was out in the woods, and I was putting all the stuff up, on my document. So I think she just wanted to have it be put on her on my document so she could be featured. And that's usually something I don't really, that's something I don't usually enjoy. When you got people out there that are just looking for some type of attention. I mean, in other words, I mean, in other words, like, in other words, like her story to me just didn't add up that well. Like some of the things that she was telling me just couldn't be true. Like it was out in the woods, the trees were really high up, the branches were all mixed together to make things look a lot larger. She couldn't see really any other features than these supposed red eyes, which the glowing eyes obviously sometimes are reflective, of course. So honestly, in my personal opinion, I just really believe most likely she had seen an owl. But as for investigation wise, my worst, like the actual worst investigation was 4 years ago. That was actually our last residential investigation. And honestly, I think it got to a point where we should have actually called a professional like exorcist in, because what began originally as just a house blessing eventually turned to an actual exorcism. And I mean, I didn't take part in it. I was just more of a witness to it, but it got to the point where it actually started scaring me, not because of the phenomenon itself, because we've all heard that exorcisms are extremely dangerous, and some people have died from it. So, and we were doing this on a kid who was like 20 years old. So, you know, it was more, and they're still controversial to this day, you know, because since none of us were exorcists, I was very worried about, you know, this kid's life at this point, because if he died, we actually probably would have ended up going to prison for murder. So I was almost ready to say, we got to stop this. But and at one point, I actually almost got pushed when we were going down a set of stairs. And these were like old, rotten wooden stairs. And I realized that if I had fallen, I probably would have seriously injured, or probably would have even died. No joke. So if you want to put it as the worst investigation for you, that's probably the best I can come up with.
Dang.
Wow.
That's pretty extreme.
It was very, very intense. And at one point, I actually had someone, well, no longer friends with her anymore. At the time, I was excited. Now I know better. But she actually wanted to make a film based on my experiences. But now I've learned that that's not always such a good idea. You know, you need permission from the family. And the only thing I am doing is I am writing a short story about it. But of course, other than myself, I'm not mentioning anyone's names for their protection. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Sorry, guys, that we're getting a little bit behind. Let's see here.
Yeah. I've actually got this next question here. I can go ahead and pop it up onto.
Yeah, if you want to do it, Jeremy, go ahead. Captured evidence or experience what you would believe to be an animal spirit.
Jim, Crystal, would you guys like to start on that one?
Well, I can answer quickly. I haven't yet.
I don't think I have, per se.
I will tell you about some personal experience. My family is very religious. All of my family, on both sides. My dad was a Baptist minister. And
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go pee.
the Bible talks about when you die. There's something in the Bible somewhere. I'm not sure where, believe it or not. that joke's for Scott and Jeremy. But there's actually something in the Bible about snow white animals coming to see you when you go. Well, I know when we buried my grandfather, pure white rabbit came out from behind a tombstone. And when we walked down to find the tombstone, because my grandparents lived in southeastern Kentucky, so the cemetery literally to dig a grave 6 foot there, you have to dig it 6 foot on the lowest side. And to tell you the grade of mountain that they're on, that the cemetery's on, you have to dig one side of the grave 8 foot deep and the other side of the grave 6 foot deep to get 6 foot down. So over the space of a grave, you have 2 foot of fall. So we walked down to the tombstone where the rabbit came from, and the thing disappeared. We couldn't see it anymore. And it was my grandfather's brother that was buried there. And I've seen that happen several times in cemeteries where an animal will appear when someone is being buried.
Interesting.
And I have to say that it is comforting to the family.
Scott, do you have an answer for this particular one, or do you have like any particular animal spirit that you've experienced?
I mean, I've never have seen an animal spirit. I mean, I think it would be an amazing thing to capture or experience, but yeah, unfortunately, I never have. At least that I know of. I'll put it to you that way.
Yeah, like I said, I just can't think of anything. I mean, I've heard, I think I've actually heard, hoof prints like, those of horses, but other than that, not like an actual encounter. So I just can't think of anything, to be honest.
Right, but that was an awesome question, man.
Yeah. Now, Alberta here said, wait, hang on a second. She said that she saw white butterflies everywhere when her aunt passed. Wow.
Yeah, there is a passage in the Bible that says something along those lines.
See, I've actually heard that there's also, I've heard of something like that, not with white butterflies, but actually black ones, which they say that sometimes precedes death before it. So that's kind of interesting that she pointed out. It's like black ones precede death, and then white ones are there after death.
I don't think I've ever had any experiences with like a deceased. It's a thing in my family. My grandma loved birds and cardinals especially. And I've taken notice that when I have a particularly bad day or I'm nervous about traveling or something, I always see a cardinal. So kind of like
Hi,
grandma's
Clarissa.
with you kind of a thing.
She said there was one flying around where the wreaths were. Definitely makes sense. Yeah.
You must see him a lot then, Crystal, because you live with Tim and you go a lot of places with him.
If you look, Scott, if you really look, there's one hanging from the mirror in the Mustang.
Hey,
Sorry,
thanks for tuning
I
in.
didn't see up that far.
I gotta show Ryan.
You didn't have your booster seat that day.
I gotta show Ryan Seymour my shirt. It says "My Pop Rocks," and then it's got the.
You're going the wrong way. There you go.
I can see it.
It is cool.
Alberta, it's funny. Alberta, sorry, I'm butchering your name. I apologize. You talk about robin's coins and feathers. Before we went to Crown Point, which was our first investigation since your dad passed.
Yeah.
I kept finding dimes everywhere. And even in the jail, we heard change being thrown. And when we went to find out what it was a dime. I have a stack of dimes on my computer desk that I've collected since his dad has passed.
Our snoring son just woke up and confiscated our chicken nuggets.
I got to share this, by the way. Ryan Seymour said, just pulled out buffalo chicken tender out of the oven. Where are you guys at?
Yeah.
Alberta said, I had chicken balls.
Oh, no.
I think Scotty's seen that comment because I've seen him laughing.
I did. I was like, man, I'll eat them both.
I totally agree with you, Alberta. It is an obvious sign. I believe our loved ones are all around us most of the time, and still attempt to influence our lives, either through our thoughts and our prayers, or through our different things. I believe that there's a whole bag of sausage right here. I believe that there are that our loved ones still watch over us. So
see, it's interesting because we always. It's interesting to me because you see that in a lot of movies all the time. Well, does most people seem to realize that actually does happen on several occasions in real life. It's not just like what you see in films or shows or books. It does happen on occasion.
Definitely.
Yeah, they are always with us. That's correct.
There was a big question.
Yes, I'm getting to that right now. Karma Wild after this. Okay, so my question is, I own a haunted items museum, and unfortunately, due to COVID-19, going to have to close the place pretty soon, the next 2 months. I want to know how everybody thinks I should get rid of the haunted items in there. In my museum, there's verifiable evidence of a jinn, a shadow person, orbs with faces on them, poltergeist activity, and more. Obviously, I would like to be able to sell these items, but where would I do that? And he has to be two people who understand how to hand. I can't get to the rest of it, unfortunately. So
Let me
that's,
see if I can pull it up.
yeah. It might be if you check on the on the actual chat itself, you might be able to see the whole thing. Because
I'd be able to sell these items.
Yeah.
But where would I do that? And he has to be two people who understand how to I'm guessing how to handle it.
Man,
It has to be. She wants to be able to sell the items to people who understand how to handle and protect the items. I'm guessing, if I'm right, Karma. If we're right, Karma, let me know.
Karma, there's a lot of people in the paranormal field who will take stuff like that, who seek that
Zach
stuff out.
Baggins will buy them all from you.
Yeah,
Who?
and that's what I was getting ready to
Zach
say.
Baggins will buy everything.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
I'm not talking about Zach Baggins. Depending on what you have, I mean, seriously, I'm sure if you have dolls, Adrian would take them or buy them. Sim won't let me have possessed things in the house. Otherwise, I would have Annabelle sitting on my shelf. Let's see. I mean, there's paranormal collectors. I follow a couple groups on Facebook. They specifically look for stuff that is claimed to be haunted.
I wouldn't mind having a museum myself.
I'm not running it, Jeremy. I'm not riding that one with you.
That's okay.
I'll help. Okay.
Just see Jeremy's house now with a bunch of curio cabinets in it.
Probably.
Yeah, and we need to have like a special spot where it's so intense that only a few people like Scott could check it out, which is the haunted chicken nuggets.
Oh, dude, don't worry. If it comes for you, I'll eat it.
I don't know about their Christmas ornaments. Just wait till next year, guys.
Oh boy. Mine is still sitting on the entertainment center in the living room.
Mine's in the attic.
Okay, so Ryan here says the house I grew up in, my grandmother would be washing dishes and coins would fall into the sink out of nowhere, just fall and flash in the dishwasher all the time.
Wow.
How about that?
Yeah, there are different ties to coins in the paranormal that we've researched. Of course, the old pay the ferryman, coins over the eyes.
Back in the day, they used to.
But there are several. Yeah.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah, we wonder about that, Cheryl. I definitely wonder about that because that's my mother-in-law. That's
That's my
Crystal's
mom, guys.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, Cheryl.
Yep, that's my mom.
Years ago, before we ever got into this, I kind of went into an abandoned house, and there was a light switch cover in there that was clowns, and she loves clowns.
Yes, I collect oddities.
So it was like an old one from the 50s, one of those plate light switch covers. So I actually climbed in through the window of this house, and I mean, the floors were all broken in, the roof was caving in, so it was kind of probably dangerous for me to do this. But I went in there with a screwdriver and got the light switch cover, and we've had paranormal activity around us ever since. So she says we have a paranormal light switch cover.
Yep.
Wow.
Light switch cover, but
We do wonder though, because ever since we've had it, we've had activity. Every house we've lived in. And even though it's not on the wall right now, it's in the attic with all my clowns because my children do not like clowns, so I don't have them out. They compromise with my dolls.
I'm out.
They compromise with my dolls, but they will not let me have my clowns out.
I love clowns until they squirt water in my face or they honk one of them horns real close to me. Then I want to punch them.
I had someone who did that once. I mean, it wasn't actually through the water, but it was through one of those haunted house walkthroughs. Accidentally punched one of the guys. So
yeah, I've always liked that. What was that old movie, Problem Child? When the guy comes out, look, a giraffe, look, a fist.
Oh man, that's an old movie.
yeah, how old is that movie?
Gotta be late 80s or early 90s.
Yeah, right in there.
About 30 years ago now. Wow, before my time.
Yeah, you're a baby, Nick. I'm telling you.
I wasn't born until 93.
Oh my goodness, you're younger than my brother is. And there's a 9-year difference between me and my brother. So, well, wait a minute. I'm still on 29, right? Isn't that what we tell everybody?
Yeah. You're still 29.
I sometimes still think I'm 17.
There is one story I want to touch up on about that. The last question about experiences with animals. I personally have not had any experiences, but we did a theater a couple of years ago, and one of the claims is that they think that they had like a ghost cat that would hang around the ticket booth outside. So, me being me, I actually went outside and sat down on the sidewalk against the ticket booth, and I'm just yelling out there, 2 o'clock in the morning, here, kitty, 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 here, kitty, kitty. Trying to see if anything would come. Nothing ever did.
We had a cat come up to us on an investigation,
Yes, we did.
and it would not leave us. Remember that at Davy's house?
I do, yes.
That cat was in the bed of Tim's truck every time we went in the house. I was like, that cat's coming home with us. He didn't come home with us.
Nope, it didn't.
We've had a few cats kind of follow us around at particular sites, like at the Ropp House or Ashmore Estates. So they just, and we just actually had this small black cat that showed up in front of our house a couple of nights ago. So although he ran off, so we've crossed paths with all these cats that just happen to have vacation spots.
Ryan.
Ryan, that just goes to show I'll try just about anything on an investigation to try to get confirmation of these claims.
So let's see. I'm going back a little bit further because I know there were a few other questions that. Oh yeah, here's one that I actually I found this one interesting. Bart asked this one. What about kids' toys?
I've got a few of those. I have a bicycle horn, and I also have a ball that used to belong to my daughter. It's a plastic ball with an outer hard shell on it, and inside that shell are beads, so that whenever the ball moves, those beads are going to move around, make a lot of noise, so you're going to be able to hear it. That's all I got as far as kid toys go.
One of the investigations we were on at Randolph, there's a claim of a 8-year-old boy.
Yeah, 8-year-old boy who died of measles.
Yeah. So they have a room. They have a room dedicated to him. It's got all kinds of toys in it, and there wasn't a whole lot really happening in there throughout the night. Well, about 3 o'clock in the morning, everybody just decided they were all going home. So it was me, Jeremy, Tim, and Michael left at the building. And I would say probably around 6:30, 7 o'clock the next morning, a balloon just started moving around. And Michael and I could sit and just watch this balloon like dance all over the floor.
Pennywise.
And you could feel it. You could feel it, and there was no air, so it wasn't a draft. And it would just kind of dance around. That was pretty cool to see.
Well, I'm sure that's pretty amazing. You sure it wasn't Pennywise though, like Scott said.
If it was Pennywise, we would be chilling in the drain together because I like clowns, remember?
Yeah.
Of course. The camera hag had to get on camera.
Say hi. Say hi. Say hi, guys. My name is Ghost, and I like to bother Mom while she's on her lives.
There's my little.
Time never fails.
Yep, that's my little shoestring killer.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, we got some. My friend Nicole Durden's watching. She's actually one of our new paranormal recruits for one of our sets. She's got a large one here. There's a place that scares the absolute crap out of me. I maybe mentioned this once or twice to new people. There's a cemetery called Fairmount in Willow Springs, Illinois, which I have actually heard. I've seen an apparition lady swinging from a tree. She was unfortunately hanging. Then she would cut the noose and then walk to the car to whoever sits in front of the clock tower there. It's very scary. Just figure I'd put it out there with an experience I had more than once every time I come out there. Of course, again, I can't see the rest, but unfortunately, I have the comment right here. She said, we've gotten handprints and quite a vocalist.
Wow.
Wow.
That'd be a fun place to go and investigate.
Yeah.
I haven't been there yet, so.
That's in Illinois?
Nicole, feel free to contact us or PM one of us. We'll be more than glad to come out and do an investigation with you if you want.
Yeah, like I said, she's one of the new recruits. She's actually trying to. She excuse me. She also has an interest in ufology. She's actually going to be joining at some point, helping out, putting together the Chicago UFO Hunters group. So, but yeah, I would definitely say she needs to get a hold of you guys because she loves a lot of this stuff. I'm actually supposed to talk to her next week, and we're going to be getting her. What's that?
Right over in Iowa, so.
No,
Illinois. I'm sorry, Illinois.
She lives here. She lives in Illinois. I mean, she used to live in Burbank, but she just recently moved to Aurora, so she's only like about an hour, about 45 minutes away from me. So, wait, let's see. She's got something else here to say. But this is obviously no surprise. I've been to Bachelor's Grove and Ox Sable, but this place scared me the most. Oh, I'm sure.
I want to go there.
Oh, you guys got to.
Next road trip.
Yeah, I mean, Bachelor's Grove and Ox Sable, I've been to plenty of times. You guys got to check it out.
We'll pick Nick up on the way.
Yeah, I'll be on the way. I'm on the way over. So, yeah, just pick me up. I'll have my tour ready. Let's go.
Yeah.
Nicole, you want to come with? Let's go.
I do ask that we wait a little while till it warms up some because it sounds like it's outside and
Yeah.
Well,
I know today it got down to 5 o'clock here today or 6 o'clock here today. It was 17 degrees Fahrenheit, so it was a little chilly today.
Well, may I?
I tell everybody. I know I'm
too, ladies and gentlemen.
I tell everybody, Scott, I know I'm getting older because the fat isn't keeping me warm anymore.
Well, I would suggest this though. I mean, yeah, it's fine to do it when it's warmer, but I would probably stay away from going like places at Bachelor's Grove during the summer because it's in the middle of the woods. It gets very hot, sticky. There's bugs all over the place. So my suggestion, this is just my personal opinion, I would go during either the spring or during the spring or the fall. That would be like probably the next couple months. I would say that would probably be your best time coming out, so we can avoid all that.
I do love going into cemeteries and investigating.
Yeah. So let's see. Okay, so Ryan had another question here. Here we go. Have you ever captured an EVP through a camera mic? I actually just my first last November.
What's up, baby?
It was at a residential house. We was using a regular camera, and the audio that came through it, one of them was actually asking if we were done yet. Because we had been to this particular house 3 times, and apparently one of the spirits that supposedly reside in his house got a little tired of us because we kept coming over trying to get answers for this client. And one of the things it sounded like, are they done yet?
Dang.
Wow.
Hmm.
See, I think we might have gotten something like that too, where we actually got the EVP on the camera mic itself. I can't remember exactly where that was. I'm gonna have to go back and see exactly which location that was. It was a couple years ago, you know that.
I've captured all mine on EVP recorders. So.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Nicole's definitely in. She said, please reach out to me. I'm going to investigate this place again, but I recommend talking to someone before going to this place, meaning like the city. Hell. But a year ago on Christmas Day, I got into an accident, Fairmount as well. The wheel turned on its own into a ditch full of water. I had to call a tow truck. Yikes. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I think I remember this story. I remember she told me about this.
Wow. Definitely make sure we're blessed before
Well,
we go.
we'll definitely reach out to you, Nicole. If we come over and investigate it, we'll definitely reach out to you and bring you along. Sounds like a good time.
She's a great kid. She's awesome. I mean, I can't wait to get her out with one of our crews because she's all for it. I'm not going to say too much, but she comes from basically like a family of investigators.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and reach out to her now. Send her a friend request.
Go for it, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Question up here, Nick. Do you mind if I bring it up?
What's that?
I saw another question up here. Do you mind if I bring it up?
I'm actually going back through other questions. Oh, yes. That's another one I wanted to bring up. So thank you. Thank you, Tim.
Ryan asked. Go ahead, Scott.
Did you guys see the one Alberta asked way back up?
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now. Yeah, it was. Let's see. Oh boy, where is it? I know. Oh wait, no. Oh wait, no, that's not it.
It was just after Bart's toy question.
It was after Bart's question. You remember which question it was after Bart's?
Yeah, Alberta, and I can't bring it up like you guys can, but
Oh,
she wanted to
yeah.
Would that be the one?
No,
This is
it's
it.
Oh wait, here. Oh, I think this is it.
Oh, here we go. I found it.
Have any of you have been?
yes.
Have any of you ever been psychologically harmed or scratched on an investigation?
I think I
That
have.
goes with Ryan.
We did the haunted jail attraction in Columbia City, and I didn't notice anything by the end of that night because it was so cold. But when I woke up the next day after the investigation, I had a scratch on the right side of my elbow. And come to find out, another one of my investigators had a scratch in the very same spot on the right side of her elbow. So did that come from the jail itself? Probably. Did we bump into something to cause that scratch? It's very possible, but I was the only one that night who wasn't wearing a jacket because I thought it wasn't going to get cold outside. Well, cold period, but it did. And there was no heat in this jail. She was wearing a jacket and she still got that scratch. So there could be something to it.
That's Scott, what about you?
Yeah, I got scratched at the Davies house in Kokomo, Indiana. So that was the first time for me, so that was pretty interesting. So
That's a funny story.
It's interesting to see Scott run into the bathroom and just start stripping off all of his clothes, and you're like, "Whoa, bud! Wait a minute! Hold on! Stand here! Hold on!"
Keep in mind, there was no working plumbing in this house.
yeah, so I was going out because you if you had to pee, you had to go outside to the backyard. So that's where I was going because we were getting ready to lock up and walk down to go to the gas station. And Tim said, "Hey, Scott, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I gotta go pee," and something was said, and I come back in the house, and it felt like something had bit me. So I kind of like just slapped the side of my leg. Well, I go up and I go into this bathroom that's not working, and I start taking off my pants and my Wolverines because it's still kind of chilly out. And Tim's like, "Yo, man, you can't pee in here." I'm like, "No, dude, I think I got scratched or bit." And I looked, and there's a scratch mark on my leg. So yeah, that was the first time I ever got scratched, and I was stripping naked in the bathroom to see it.
Thank you for sharing, Brenda.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I was in the room. So you go into kind of a sitting room, and then there's a family room, and then you turn and there's a hallway that has a bedroom, and the bathroom. So when you turn to go in down the hallway, the bathroom's right there. And I hear Tim, "What are you doing, Scott?" And I come around the corner, and they're like, "Hold on, don't come, Scott's stripping." And I'm like, "Why is Scott stripping?"
Hey.
Does he need a reason?
You gotta remember, when it's the 13th dimension investigating, it's me and these three guys. I'm the only
I'm
female.
not even the
there.
worst one. I'm not even the worst one.
Yeah, says who? Yeah.
I was gonna say, for some reason, Scott's hair pony. What was that old song?
Genuine's Pony.
Yeah, Scott started hearing "Pony" by Genuine, and off it came. No, I'm just teasing.
Wow. See, okay, let me be honest. If I happen to see something like that, oh yeah, I get a scratch, all right, but I'd be scratching my eyes like, I didn't see this.
I will say this: widest legs in the field, Scott Wilson.
I can't help it, man. And I work outside every day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just teasing you, buddy.
Yeah, it's all good. I got chicken legs.
That's why you eat chicken nuggets.
That's right.
Oh, you know what? I was actually going to ask when you said about when you got scratched. I'm like, you sure it wasn't scratching while you were eating one of those chicken nuggets, like it didn't scratch
Right.
your mouth?
I'll let you go next on this one. You can talk about Michaela if you like.
Okay. Yeah, I've never been scratched or anything. I hate to say it this way, nothing exciting ever freaking happens to me except for when Jeremy's blowing his dog whistle. It's always the dog whistle. But when we did go to the Davies house, the same place Scotty was scratched. What was that?
Some number from Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, this is the time before we were there, 13th Dimension. They had like an open house because we had a what is it called, Jeremy? Para-Unity Conference. And a bunch of the people afterwards went to investigate the Davies house. And our daughter was scratched. She said that it felt like somebody tried to grab her. And then when we got her outside on the porch, you could see scratches on her arm. And she wanted to go back in, and we went back in, and they kept a thermal imager on her, and you could see a hand on her arm. That place is pretty interesting. It's definitely different.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
The Davies house. It's in Kokomo.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard of that, but I got to look it up. I can't quite remember.
It's not a well-known location. They just started doing investigations there, I don't know, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, something like that. But the house is currently up for sale, and it looks like, from what I was hearing, that somebody's interested in buying the house. So there's a possibility that it may not be available much longer for investigations.
Oh, that's kind of crappy.
Yeah.
Got so much activity.
I can tell you guys right now that speaking of houses, Jeremy, I told you and Howard this last night. My dad just recently bought a brand new house. I mean, we're not moving. We're just having like a second, kind of like our weekend getaway house. If you will. It's only like about a half hour away. It's out in Barrington, and it's located off of a road called Cuba Road. And Cuba Road has a reputation of being haunted, along with a nearby cemetery called White Cemetery. So if you guys ever happen to be around, now you guys can come on this area pretty much legally now. Don't have to worry about trespassing. So we pretty much, and it's a pretty good sized house. I mean, my dad said that if we wanted to have like a festival or a conference or something, there's quite a good amount of room. You know, if it's like, of course, when it's during the warm season. So we got pretty much a spot for future events and investigations.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so Nicola, I know I just posted this up. Thanks for listening to my
That makes
story.
a
I
nice
have a lot
one,
more,
yeah.
but this one stuck out. Well, I'm not surprised. Okay, so Brian here has another.
Sorry, turn my phone off. I did have one to add to that.
Oh, okay.
I've never been like physically scratched, but I did have something psychologically happen to me. The first time we went to Crown Point Jail, we had everybody that was there was in one room in Universal. And I was sitting on the floor with my back half against the wall, and half of it was open to an open jail cell. Well, I kept getting something tugging my shirt from behind me in this open jail cell, but there was nobody there. So they said they were going to lock us down. So I told my wife, I was like, we're getting locked down in this cell because something keeps pulling my shirt. It wants me to come in this cell. So we went into the cell and they closed the doors, locked us in. And all of a sudden I was just overcome with this feeling that I wanted to ram my head into the bars.
I've heard of this story. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was shaking the bars. I was going crazy in there. And all I wanted to do was ram my head in the bars. And then after we came home, we found out that 2 people had committed suicide in the jail itself. I don't know that it was that room, but 2 people had committed suicide in that jail by ramming their heads into the bars and cracking their skulls open. So that's like, it didn't really damage me in any way. It didn't scare me in any way, but it did stand out to me.
Wow.
I'm going to guess it was probably in that very cell that you and Crystal were in.
It could have been. I mean, we don't know why. The stories that we read on it didn't have a location inside the jail that it happened, but it did happen in that jail.
Right.
So, you know, for some reason, I believe that one of those entities not necessarily possessed me or anything, but was kind of in my head trying to explain something to me, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly, that didn't happen when I was there about 8 years ago now. So, but I definitely had that feeling of just wanting to get out of one of those cells. So, again, could it be that same cell that maybe you were also in too? I'm not sure, but you know, you definitely feel that energy when you're in any of those cells. That's for sure.
Maybe it was just me wanting to get out of being
The
locked up.
cell that they were in, when you walk into Universal, it's on the left-hand side. And what would you say, like the 4th, 5th,
It's the
6th
second
cell
cell
down?
over. Second cell over on the left is the one that I was locked down in.
The second one. Okay. I was thinking.
Yeah,
it was
and it has you can always tell it because it has a puzzle or a riddle on the wall.
Let's see if I can find it.
I know what the riddle is.
You know what the riddle is? Because I took pictures of it.
Yeah, it says, I have no mouth, but still I yak. I have no bones, but my spine can still crack. And the answer's a book.
But that's the cell we were in.
But it has that on the wall. Somebody spray painted on the wall of the jail cell.
Yeah. Meanwhile, during this whole time, I was on the other side of that cell, all the way at the very end where they do the solitary confinement.
Ooh.
And I was just having a ball. I was acting like that. Who's that wild cowboy guy from the Green Mile?
Oh, I know who that.
I want to say his name was Bill.
I gotta look him up.
Yeah, wasn't that who's the guy?
Jeremy's in there, Bugsy Malone in it. You'll never take me alive, cop-eyes.
Yeah, I was saying all kinds of crazy stuff.
Okay.
I was trying to get some sort of energy going through there. And I was even yelling out, asking if we were allowed conjugal visits during this thing.
That's Scott. They like Scott for conjugal visits.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mhm. You can go on the 13th dimension. People have posted the Spirit Box episode with Scott. If you really want to hear it, it should be on there.
Yeah,
Because,
it'll be on the 13th dimension page.
yeah, he sent it to us.
Okay, so I was just looking up that movie, Green Mile. Wasn't that okay, now I just lost the name for some reason. That was see, I always hate it sometimes when you have it like right in front of you, then all of a sudden it
I
disappears.
want to say it was the same guy that played Lee Harvey Oswald in JFK, but I'm not 100% sure.
So Pete here. Go ahead, Scott.
I think his name wasn't it like Percy or something?
Yeah, Percy. That's what I'm looking. I'm trying to find the actor's name who played him.
Right.
So it should have been right there. Doug Hutchison.
So Pete says he's went to the Davies house.
No, that was. I'm talking about the prisoner who went wild.
Okay. See, I haven't seen the whole film, so I'm trying to put the pieces together so I can remember who that was.
Pete, you're probably not far from us then. If you've been to the Davies house twice last year, very nice people who run it. They are very nice.
Pete Griss.
Yeah, and
Jeremy, do you
then
know who that is?
he said he's been to the Old Lake County Jail over 30 times. It never disappoints.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it definitely never disappoints. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
I got to
Sam
say,
Rockwell. He's the one who played Wild Bill Warrington.
oh, that's okay.
Yeah. I
So
was trying to act like
far
trying to
from
get
us.
it going.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell. That's who it was.
Yes.
See, I got to send. Remind me. I got to send you guys a picture of my first time at Crown Point. It's a pretty funny picture. So it's like you probably say it's like my debut of being at Crown Point. So I'll have to send that to you guys.
He looks even more like a baby.
Yeah, I was 20 then.
Love going to Crown Point. We love going up there.
Yeah.
Oh, this is when.
Love
Oh,
it.
yeah. You guys have any plans to investigate on the East Coast? If so, party at my house, and yes, I will have chicken tenders.
It's a
So
deal,
this-
Ryan. We're coming.
So while we were at Crown Point, the first night, down in Anna's, where they kept the female prisoners, the girls kept feeling comfortable, and the guys were getting an uneasy feeling. And so Tim, being the genius he's not, decided to come up with the idea to send 5 girls by themselves, no males, down into Anna's area. And all 5 of us had different experiences, but we felt like we were being hunted by a pack of wolves. Basically, we were cornered. But this is one of the pictures with Sandy and part of the team.
Oh wow!
We don't know what this light thing is.
Yeah, oh yeah, I didn't see that at first. Now that you said that, wow. Huh.
But that's right outside of Anna's cell. But yeah,
My dog doesn't quit jumping up on my table. I'm about to.
you're based out of Griffith near Crown Point. Awesome. We're down by Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's where we're at. So not too far.
I came across another question. I know Margaret left, but I'll still put this up in case she happens to come back. She said, "Does anyone use an ovilus?"
I haven't.
Mm-mm.
I haven't. Nope.
No.
I want to. That is one of the pieces of equipment I absolutely want to try, but no, I've not had the opportunity to try that yet.
Those things are really expensive.
Yeah.
They are.
You see, this is like what I was talking about earlier. Like when I said when I was younger, a lot of those tools were unavailable because they were so expensive. This is pretty much the same exact situation. I'd love to get an Ovilus as well, but they're like right now they're like $900, sometimes even more.
Oh, no.
And it's
This is
amazing.
why I like the dog whistle so much, because that thing only cost me $4.
So I'm new. So what is an ovulus? I'm sorry that I do not know.
So an Ovilus, pretty much. Jeremy, Scott, you guys, Tim, you guys could probably explain it better. But from what I've always seen, they're the Ghost Adventures. A number of other shows have used them where you ask a question, it has like that robotic voice. So like, if you ask, is someone there, you're like,
reads it back to you.
Yeah, it reads it back to like, yes, kind of like that.
It's similar like a spirit box.
Very much.
Yeah, it's like the spirit box, but I don't know, the vocabulary that is for this is, I don't know. It's at one time I think it was like 1,500 words, and it keeps going up more and more and more. But it don't, like you're scanning for your radio stations and you're trying to pick out those words. You don't have to worry about with the Ovilus.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's basically a spirit box that
You're not scanning frequencies.
but you're not scanning frequencies like that. It's like a live feedback EVP recorder.
Okay.
Did I explain that right, Pete? I'm not sure if I did or not. So please.
Yeah,
chime
he said
in
he
on that.
has 2 of them. Wow. See, the way I see it, it's like exactly it's like a hybrid almost of an EVP recorder and Ghost Box. It's like you don't without all the interference. It's like a direct answer to your questions.
Very cool.
Yeah. Peter also said, you're getting good responses when it's silent for a long time in between words.
Agreed.
Yeah. See, I think that's really the only real type of machinery, if you will, that's legit, the responses, because I'm sure you guys all know there's always those ghost radar apps on the phones and stuff like that. They do the exact same thing. From the very start that they're not being accurate. And I probably said this previously, but a number of years ago, during our first time investigating Bobby Mackey's Music World, she wasn't a member of the team, but she just happened to tag along with us. And something tells me that she was not very much experienced of how, investigations work. So she was being all serious and she was using her phone. And it turned out she was using the Ghost Radar app with the responses. And even then, and we're talking 2012 here. So, even I knew then that was not really a good app. I really wanted to say to her, look, I hate to tell you this, but that app, you're not really getting the answers you think you're getting. So yeah, I stay. There's only like 3 apps that I use that are actually good. In my opinion, that's the Echo Box, sometimes the Necrophonic, and the Spiritual Ghosts app. And that's pretty much it. Other than that, all those other apps, I just throw them all away.
Yeah, and I brought that up last night. That was asked. That question was asked to me last night in a Holly podcast. And I said the same thing about that Ghost Radar. Like, you cannot trust that. You download it, it says for entertainment purposes only. And yeah, you're right, Nick. That is not a good app to use.
Here comes our camera hog again. He loves to walk across the keyboard.
Hey, Pete says Echo Box was great until they updated it. Well, I don't know anything about an update on it. It's been about a year since I've used it, so I didn't know things have changed with it. But I still have it at least.
Yeah, I've tested out a few apps that were downloadable off of Google, and it was also clear that these were not going to work the way that you want them to, because the first one that I tried was an actual EMF detector. And I would run my phone all along the wall, and I would be getting spikes everywhere, except when I would run across an electrical outlet, or if I took it to my my breaker box, completely dead. So that was good way that I was able to determine that this particular app wasn't going to work. And then there was another app that I tried out that I had hopes for, despite knowing that nothing ever works. And that was a thermal imaging app. And the quickest way that I was able to debunk this app is because I put it on my TV to see what would pop up. And sure enough, every individual little thing that was on TV, whatever movie it was, had its own heat signature instead of all color. They took the screen off of the TV and colored in the thermal imaging colors like there was actually something there.
Right.
That's how I was able to figure out, okay, thermal apps aren't going to be good for phones either.
Yeah, Alberta has a point here saying the words repeat a lot on those apps. That's absolutely true.
Mhm.
They're for entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, like when we
You can get a Magic 8-Ball app on your phone too. I mean, that's
Yeah,
is,
you know, at the end of the day, it's a phone app that's there for entertainment purposes. I don't put a lot of trust in them myself. As far as
because you can't operate them.
professionalism goes, but just throwing that out there. But it's something that I definitely wouldn't invest time and money into.
yeah, it's when during the when those words started repeating during the Bobby Mackey's investigation, I mean at that point I was just ready to say, okay, dude, turn it off. It's not. And she was so believing that she was getting all these responses, and I'm actually surprised that nobody else, including because my dad he was actually a member of this team as well. I'm surprised neither my dad or anybody else said, turn it off, please. Just turn it off. Give up the ghost on it.
How serious can you take phone apps when literally I just pulled up Ouija boards?
I've never seen that app of the Ouija board before.
Yeah, one was just recently released.
Yeah, you can get a Ouija board app on your phone. Like,
Wow.
Seriously?
That's bizarre. I mean, honestly, already just by seeing that, I probably would avoid it. I mean, unless I hear other groups and investigators like using it, I'm not buying. I'm not, whether it's free or had to pay for it, I'm not getting it. So,
I wouldn't have a Ouija board on my phone anyways. That's just my personal thing.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't put any stock into phone apps at all.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't, but again, with those 3 apps I mentioned, I don't really do that either.
Yeah. So I gave it 2 tries, 2 different things, and both of them failed based on the experiments that I used on them. I'm not going to waste my time on any more phone apps.
Especially when you can get a decent EVP recorder at Walmart for $30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
that's how I usually do the with people like Nicole, like whenever you get these new recruits that come in, whenever any of them ask, like, what should I start off with? And this is the one thing I think a lot of us usually say, I always tell them, get a recorder first.
What's up, Howard?
To see ya. I always tell them, any type of, digital device is fine. You don't have to go for like the most expensive one. Just get like a cheap one for like $5 to $10, and there you go. You got something for yourself.
Right. The only thing I use on my phone is my camera. There's times when I'm investigating and I will snap pictures like I did when we were all down in the Anna's area by ourselves, because it's a pain in the butt to try and take my huge Nikon D5000 and try and take pictures with it all night long. It's so much easier to carry around my phone. So sometimes I'll snap pictures, and sometimes it helps because when Jeremy and I did the light detection, I could go back to the pictures and say, okay, I took a picture of the same angle with my phone. Okay, look what we see. We think that's a ghost there. Oh no, it's actually a part of the bed. So it's not always, I mean, the phone isn't horrible to use, but be cautious with what you use on it.
Right.
See, I think the reason why I don't use even the ones I do have, the three of them, the problem is like unless I had another phone, there's a lot of times you won't really see me use them. Not because I don't think that they don't work, but most of the time, as you guys have probably seen, I film a lot of these investigations, so I'm filming live, and you can't just go back and forth between apps. Unless I had another phone with me, that's a possibility. But most of the time, I'm filming a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, it takes a lot of effort.
I'm going to try to pull up a picture here real quick.
What are you trying to do?
Yeah, because we're running out of time.
Yeah, we got only 10 minutes left. While Tim's looking for, I just realized I never answered the question about scratching. If I was ever scratched. Honestly, I haven't. I have not been. I mean, like I said, I've been pushed. Like I said earlier about being almost pushed down the stairs. I've had my energy drained, but other than that, so far I haven't been scratched. I know people around me who've been scratched, but I haven't myself yet. At least not yet.
Yeah. Well, there's always a first time for everything.
Oh yeah.
Just like at Crown Point, I was, after using that whistle, I was experiencing things that I've never had happen to me before, and I've had multiple results like that throughout the year last year, and I'm hoping for it to continue on, especially next weekend.
Next weekend, interesting. I think I know what Tim's looking for, so I'm looking for it as he's looking for it.
I actually have it on my phone. I'll just go over there and get it there.
Okay. While he's looking for it, I want to go ahead and make the announcement for our show next week. Our show next week is going to be pre-recorded. The reason it's going to be pre-recorded is because on next Friday night, as soon as I get off of work, instead of rushing home and hopping into the shower to get ready for the show, I am actually going to be heading down south to pick up Scott, Tim, and Crystal as we make our way out west. So
$30 you can get 100 nuggets.
Yeah,
a lot of nuggets.
$11.99 a piece for 50.
A whole bunch.
Yeah. So we will be on the road doing the airing of our show next week, and our guest for next week is Clarissa Haller. I'm not sure how her last name is pronounced, but Clarissa, she is actually like an empath medium from the next town over from me. She is literally right in between where I live and where Tim, Crystal, and Scott live. So
Wow.
we're going to be doing a pre-recorded interview with her early next week. And
Really quick.
that loaded up on the Con page to premiere right at 7:00 on next Friday.
Really quickly, this is a picture of an actual thermal imaging camera. If it comes up,
Okay.
It's a little bit bright. Get back. There we go.
There it is. Yeah.
so that's my daughter's arm when she got grabbed.
And that's my stupid dog.
Max.
That's Max.
Yeah. So hopefully, while the show is on live, a couple of us who is not driving will be able to hop onto the show and interact with those watching the show, providing we can even get on.
Right.
But on that token, on next Saturday, when we do get to our location, we will be going live a few times throughout the day and throughout the night, where we will be with other members of One TV.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. It
And
really
since I'm only stuck in the back with Scott, most likely, I'm thinking some TikToks are in order, buddy.
oh boy.
I've already got
Okay.
some sounds in mind, so it should be interesting. We'll upload them to the 13th dimension.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Tim,
All right,
I have a
thank you.
feeling you and I are going to be having some cameos in TikTok videos.
Hey,
Yep.
with a face like this. I mean, that's the money.
Right.
Yeah. Well, at least with me, I can cover myself up. So
Okay, Pete just asked, okay, I think this is going to be our last one. What location are you going to be investigating?
we can't exactly reveal
Yeah,
where
we can't get
it
that out
is.
yet.
We can tell you that it's a Masonic temple, and it's out west.
Yeah,
Oops. Oh,
we just can't say exactly where.
Yeah.
Hidden location.
Yeah.
okay. I'm just going through the comments just one last time just to make sure we didn't. I think we got most of the questions because I know we went back a few times. So
I think we got all of them.
yeah, I think we got. Yeah, I think we
think so.
we covered them all. Okay, good.
Yeah.
And Howard, we will not bow to any sponsor.
All right. Well, Nick, thank you for being our special host tonight. You've
Thank
been
you very much.
Thank you, Nick.
real good.
Yeah,
And thank you for your patience with us too.
And guys, don't forget, Nick has a couple shows he's on the Paranormal United Network too. So
And
Yeah.
don't forget to tune in for Emily Minhouse next with What the Frick.
Yep. So, meanwhile, if it's paranormal or beyond,
Scott.
Scott,
We got it covered.
There it is, baby.
or it never goes right.
have a good night, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Everybody.
Bye.